Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Mr. Mahmoud Saad. Hello everybody. Today we're going to talk about the difference between past perfect simple and past perfect progressive or past perfect continuous. When I say we were exhausted because we'd been hiking or we had been hiking through mountains terrain for 8 hours. So we decided to wait until morning to continue our quest. In the second one, or in the second example, Sir Henry and Gagol had already fallen asleep by the time the moon had risen in the sky. What's the difference between the first example and the second example? Let's discover that. When I talk about this example, I say I had eaten my breakfast before I went to school. Here we have two actions. The first one, I had eaten my breakfast. This action that happened first. Then I went to school. Before I went to school, I had eaten my breakfast. So this action happened at first. Then the second action happened, I went to school. So I use before. Before here is followed by past simple, and the other action which happened first, I say I had eaten my breakfast. In other words, I can say I didn't go to school until I had eaten my breakfast or until I had finished my breakfast. Another example. After he had taken his music lesson, he had a telephone call. Which action happened first? Here we can discover that after he had taken his music lesson, it's the first action. That he had taken his lessons before he made a telephone call. He didn't make his telephone call until he had taken his music lesson. So after he is followed by past perfect, and on the other side we can use past simple. So when we talk about this example, after I had cleaned my room, I slept. Which happened first? I had cleaned my room. This is the first action. And the second action, I slept. So when I use past perfect simple, I wanted to use it specifically for an action that happened in the past before another action. Like in this example, I had already cleaned my room before I slept. Another way to can say this, after plus subject plus had plus past participle, and on the other side we use past simple. We can use also before. Before I ate my meal. I didn't eat my meal until I had gone and bought some items from the supermarket. So I ate my meal before I ate my meal. It is the second action. I had gone to the supermarket. It's the first action. So I didn't have my meal until I had bought some items or some food from the supermarket. So before followed by past simple and then past perfect. We can do this exercise together. Finish work or watch TV. When I ask you to use after, you will decide first which action happened first. Finish work or watch TV. Of course, you must finish your work to be allowed to watch TV. So I say after I had finished work, I watched TV, or before I watched TV, I had finished my work. Excellent. Okay, you can use also by the times is like before, and as soon as is like after. Okay, you can do this. Try to answer this. Yes, eat breakfast, go to school. Which action happened first? Eat breakfast happened first or go to school happened first? Of course, we always eat breakfast before we go to school. So, if I ask you to use by the time, you will say, by the time I went to school. That's good. I had eaten my breakfast. On the other side, if I wanted to use as soon as, I will say, as soon as I had eaten my breakfast, I went to school. I didn't go to school until I had eaten my breakfast. So it is correct to say that is the same one to say after he had finished the meeting, he made a telephone call. Or we can say before he made a telephone call, he had finished the meeting. So, as we discussed before, we use past perfect simple to refer to or to mention an action that happened first before another action in the past. Here in this slide, we will talk about another thing. My cousin Alex was exhausted but happy. Here we have two adjectives. Exhausted. Why was he exhausted? And why he was happy. When I say he was exhausted because he had won is the past participle of win. He had won 7 table tennis matches. He had already the whole matches or the matches that he played. So why he was exhausted? We say because he had been playing tennis for 7 hours. Here it's another story. When I say he had been playing table tennis for 7 hours, I mention to another thing. I refer here to the past perfect continuous. Had been playing. So here when we use this tense, we use this for an action happened continuously in the past before another action. Before he became exhausted, he had been playing for 7 hours. Another example. The lion was tired and sleepy. Why? The lion was tired and why it was sleepy. When I say it was tired because it had been hunting for 3 hours. The lion spent a long time hunting for his food. So I say before he slept, he had been hunting for 3 hours. And he was tired because he had been hunting. And when I say he slept, the lion slept after he had eaten or after it had eaten 3 little boar gazelles. So when I say it slept after it had eaten a lot of little boar animals. So the main difference here between the two tenses. When I talk about past perfect simple or past perfect continuous. When I talk about past perfect simple, I talk about a past action that happened before another in the past. Example, he had already made the necessary arrangements before I arrived. On the other side, when we talk about past perfect continuous, to talk about a continuous action that was still in progress or it was happening in the past before another action. It happened continuously in the past before another action. When another action in the past happened, like they had been living in that city for 10 years when it was destroyed by an earthquake. So, here in the past perfect continuous, we emphasize the duration of the time of this action before the second action happened. Our rules say had been plus past participle or the main verb had been living. At the end of our video, thanks a lot and goodbye.